You're not supposed to be on this side. Other side, you got this. Inshallah.
السلام الله تعالى عليكم ورحمته وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته واهتدى بهديه إلى يوم الدين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله. اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل بدعة ضلالة. يا أيها الإخوة الكرام والأخوات الكريمات. I always like to begin by asking the brothers to move forward, fill in any gaps, sit close together, and thereby make room for their brothers who will come late. I also humbly request that you turn off any electronic devices that you may have, cell phones, pagers, etc. sisters, by calling your attention to the sad and harsh reality of a large segment of Muslim youth in America. These are youth who have strayed from the path and have lost their way. Youth which rarely, if ever, attend the masjid. Youth who have abandoned prayer entirely. And if they pray, they do so infrequently, every now and again. They have boyfriends and girlfriends. They experiment with alcohol and drugs. And they associate with some of the most immoral and irreligious people in the society. Some of them may even join gangs and commit major crimes which land them in prison. وَتِلْكَ مُصِيبَةٌ. And this is without doubt a great calamity. And as is the case, whenever calamities befall, people have a tendency to ask, why? Who's at fault? Who's to blame? Who should be held responsible for the straying of Muslim youth? And while I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Ya ayyuhal abad wal ummahat, O fathers and mothers, according to the hadith of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we parents are the ones who are held accountable, the ones to blame, the ones responsible, and the ones who will be what? The finger of blame will be pointed at. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, مَا مِن مَوْلُودٍ إِلَّا وَيُولَدُ عَلَى الْفِطْرَةِ فَأَبَوَاهُ يُهَوِّدَانِ أَوْ يُنَصِّرَانِ أَوْ يُمَجِّسَانِ. He said, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, there is not a single child that is born, except that it is born upon al-fitrah. And al-fitrah, according to the scholars of Islam, it means al-Islam, born a Muslim. And it is his parents who make him a Jew, a Christian, or a Zoroastrian. The meaning, ya ikhwani, is that our children are born Muslims with hearts that incline toward Islam. And what we do or fail to do will determine ultimately whether they remain Muslim or follow a very different path. يقول الإمام ابن القيم رحمه الله تعالى: وكم ممن أشقى ولده وفلذة كبده في الدنيا والآخرة بإهماله وترك تأديبه وإعانته على شهواته ويزعم أنه يكرمه وقد أهانه وأنه يرحمه وقد ظلمه ففاته انتفاعه بولده وفوت عليه حظه في الدنيا والآخرة. وإذا اعتبرت الفساد في الأولاد رأيت عامته من قبل الآباء. Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim, he says, and how numerous are those who have caused their own child's misery in this world and in the hereafter by neglecting him and failing to discipline him while aiding and abetting him in the fulfillment of his impermissible desires. And he has the nerve to claim that his only intention was to honor him, while he in reality humiliated him. So he declares that he only intended to show him mercy, while he in reality oppressed him. So he missed the opportunity to truly benefit from his child. And he was the cause for his child to miss out on his share of this world and the next. And if you contemplate the corruption found in children, you will definitely see that most of it responsibility toward our children. We have to teach them right from wrong. We have to put them in an environment which is conducive to Islam, which will enable them to be successful in this life and, more importantly, in the next. We have to make sure they know their aqidah, what they're supposed to believe, their salah, how to pray, and that they exemplify the Islamic morals and manners. This is our responsibility, and we are going to be asked about it and held accountable for it. As the Prophet ﷺ said, كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ الرَّجُلُ رَاعٍ فِي أَهْلِهِ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ وَالْمَرْأَةُ رَاعِيَةٌ فِي بَيْتِ زَوْجِهَا وَهِيَ مَسْئُولَةٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهَا. He said, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, all of you are shepherds, and each and every one of you is going to be asked about his flock. A man is a shepherd, responsible for his family and accountable for them. A woman is a shepherd in her husband's household, responsible for the care and raising of her children and accountable for them. Some of the scholars, they count on this hadith and they said, وَالصَّبِيُّ أَمَانَةٌ عند والديه وقلبه الطاهر جوهرة النفيسة ساجدة خالية من كل نقش وسورة وهو قابل لكل ما نقش ومائل إلى كل ما يمال به إليه. A child is an amana, a trust, or something entrusted to his parents. His pure heart is a precious gem, innocent, naive, and free of every image, likeness, or inscription, like a clean slate. His heart, because of its innocence and naivety, accepts and welcomes in every image, and it inclines toward whatever it is exposed to and persuaded toward. فَإِنْ أُوِّدَ الْخَيْرَ وَعُلِّمَهُ نَشَأَ عَلَيْهِ وَسَعِدَ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ وَشَارَكَهُ فِي ثَوَابِهِ أَبَوَاهُ وَكُلُّ مُعَلِّمٍ لَهُ وَمُؤَدِّبٍ. So if the child is taught good conduct and behavior and is made accustomed to righteous action, then he grows up accordingly and he rejoices and is fortunate in this world and the next. And his parents and teachers and all of those who help refine his character will share in his reward. وَإِنْ عُوِّدَ الشَّرَّ وَأُحْمِلَ إِهْمَالَ الْبَهَائِمِ شَقِيَ وَهَلَكَ وَكَانَ الْوِزْرُ فِي رَقَبَةِ الْقَيِّمِ عَلَيْهِ وَالْوَالِلَةِ. But if he is exposed to evil and wickedness, or disregarded, neglected, and left to fend for himself, as animals are left to fend for themselves, then he will be ruined and destroyed. And the sin and shame will be upon his parents, who were put in charge and made responsible for him. Brothers and sisters, I don't think that there's anyone who hears and internalizes these words and recognizes the huge responsibility that we have as parents, except that he or she will say to themselves, this is a responsibility. The fulfillment of it is easier said than done. This is a daunting task, especially if you consider our environment and our circumstances. Most of us, ya ikhwani, we're so busy working, trying to make a living, trying to provide for our families, trying to put food on the table, make ends meet, that we don't have time to teach, to raise, and to rear our children. On top of that, we may not feel that we have the adequate knowledge. And we might say to ourselves, we're not practicing Islam the way we should practice it. We're not good enough. We're unfit, unqualified to set an example for them. And this, if it indicates, if it tells you anything, it tells you that parents, they need It comes from the Islamic school. The Islamic school is the greatest source of help. Islamic schools, they teach our children right and wrong. They create this good, wholesome environment conducive to Islam. They tell them what to believe, how to worship Allah, and they teach them the Islamic manners and morals that make them what? Good Muslims. In short, parents who want to be successful at the job of parenting in Islam, they need the Islamic school. Brothers and sisters, we need the Islamic school to help us fulfill our responsibility. But these schools are in danger. Because in most cases, they lack the necessary resources to run efficiently and effectively. They lower the tuition to allow the children of low-income families to enroll and attend. They give discounts and waivers for those families which cannot afford the fees in whole or part. And what this does is it puts them in a bind in terms of what? The salaries they're able to offer faculty and staff. And that makes it difficult for them because the salaries are so low to recruit and retain good teachers. They want to provide children with the best facilities, the best equipment, the best technology, the best textbooks, but their limited funds and resources tie their hands. Force them to make do with whatever they have, whatever they can get donated, and people typically donate what they don't want and which is no longer useful, or to just go without. These schools, they want to do right by the children, but their hands are tied by what? Limited resources. In short, these schools, just like we need them, they need us. They need our help. They need our support. The Islamic school is there for us. Are we there for the Islamic school? هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. لا إله إلا الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Brothers and sisters, before I close, I want to make a plea. I want to plead with you. I want to beg you to do something. I want to beg you to invest. I don't want you to give. I want you to invest in the Islamic school. I want you to invest with the knowledge that your investment will undoubtedly turn a profit. You're not going to lose when you make this investment. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, مثل الذين ينفقون في سبيل الله مثل الذين ينفقون أموالهم في سبيل الله كمثل حبة أنبتت 7 سنابل في كل سنبلة 100 حبة والله يضاعف لمن يشاء والله واسع عليم. The likeness of those who spend in the way of Allah is the likeness of a grain of corn. It grows 7 ears, and each ear has 100 grains. Allah multiplies the reward of whomsoever He pleases. And Allah's bounty has no limits, and He is all-knowing. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَتْلُونَ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَأَنفَقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ سِرًّا وَعَلَانِيَةً يَرْجُونَ تِجَارَةً لَنْ تَبُورَ لِيُوَفِّيَهُمْ أُجُورَهُمْ وَيَزِيدَهُمْ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ إِنَّهُ غَفُورٌ شَكُورٌ. Verily those who recite the book of Allah and establish regular prayer and spend in charity secretly and openly of what we have provided for them, they can hope for a sure gain on their investment that will not come to naught, that He may pay them their wages in full and give them appreciation for the good things we do. You don't want to consider it an investment? Consider it a loan. Consider it a loan. A loan which is going to yield halal interest with a very high annual percentage rate. مَنْ يُقْرِضُ اللَّهَ قَرْضًا حَسَنًا فَيُضَاعِفَهُ لَهُ أَضْعَافًا كَثِيرًا وَاللَّهُ يَقْبِضُ وَيَبْسُطُ وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. Who is it that will lend to Allah a goodly loan, that He may multiply it for him many times? And it is Allah that decreases or increases your provisions, and to Him you shall return. تَأَمَّلُوا يَا إِخْوَانِي. Contemplate the words, وَاللَّهُ يَقْبِضُ. Allah decreases. It teaches you that your giving or refusing to give is not going to decrease or increase your wealth. At the end of the day, the increase and decrease comes from Allah. You're not going to be harmed by giving your money in the way of Allah, because He's the one who increases and decreases. But you may be harmed by not giving, because if you don't give, He may decrease. He may take it away and give it to someone who will spend it His way. وَتَعَمَّلُوا أَيْضًا. And also contemplate the statement of Allah, وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. Because it reminds you that all of us at one point in time, at some point in time, are going to meet Allah and be asked 5 questions. One of them about our money and how we spent it. I want to close by saying this, ya ikhwan, that when someone comes to you and they mention a good cause, and they ask you to donate, they ask you to invest, they ask you to give a goodly loan, they are actually doing you a favor. And I know we typically don't look at it like this, but really, hear me out. They are doing you a favor. كيف ذلك? Because when they offer you this opportunity, they're offering you opportunity to get what? Reward from Allah. And to have your shade on the day of judgment extended, enlarged. The day when the sun will be brought close and people will sweat from the heat of the sun. Some people will enjoy the coolness of shade. And that coolness will be determined by what? The amount of sadaqah they gave. كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم المرء في ظل صدقته يوم القيامة. A person will be shaded by his sadaqah, the sadaqah he gave in this world, on the day of resurrection. However, if you turn them away, you turn them down, you're not hurting them. You're hurting yourself. You're not letting them down, you're letting yourself down. Because you'll need that charity on the day of judgment. And when death comes to you, you wish that you could come back and give now what you refused to give then when the opportunity was afforded to you. وَأَنْفِقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ مِنْ قَبْلِ أَنْ يَأْتِيَ أَحَدَكُمُ الْمَوْتُ فيقول رَبِّ لَوْلَا أَخَّرْتَنِي إِلَى أَجَلٍ قَرِيبٍ فَأَصَّدَّقْ وَأَكُنْ مِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. And spend a portion of what we have provided for you before death comes to one of you and he says, "Oh my Lord, please give me respite. Give me a little time. Take me back to that day in the mosque when they asked for donations for the school. And I pretended like I didn't have my checkbook. Like I didn't have any money on me. I had some, but I didn't give. Take me back to that day and I'll give. وَأَكُنْ مِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ. And I'll be from the righteous. وَلَنْ يُؤَخِّرَ اللَّهُ نَفْسًا إِذَا جَاءَ أَجْلُهَا. And Allah will not delay the death of anyone when his time to die has come. وَاللَّهُ عَلِيمٌ وَاللَّهُ خَبِيرٌ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ. And Allah is well aware of what you do. هَا أَنْتُمْ هَؤُلَاءِ تدعون لتنفقوا في سبيل الله فمنكم من يبخل ومن يبخل فإنما يبخل عن نفسه Behold, you are those who are called to spend in Allah's cause. Yet among you are some who are stingy. And whoever is stingy is only stingy at the expense of his own soul. Allah is rich and free of all wants. Your good deeds do not benefit him in the least. But you, mankind, are poor and in need of Allah's reward for your good deeds. And if you turn away, He will exchange you with other people, and they will not be as you are. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعني وإياكم بما فيه من الآيات والذكر الحكيم. أقول ما تسمعون وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم وقوموا إلى صلاتكم.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.